Nobody was supposed to find out. The lab was quiet. It was a Friday afternoon in April 1943 in a city that smelled like spring rain and old stone, Basel, Switzerland. A careful man in a white coat was cleaning his workspace, capping bottles, washing his hands. He thought the day was over. He thought everything was fine. He was wrong. Within the hour, everything around him would begin to breathe. The walls would ripple like water. The bicycle ride home would become the most terrifying journey of his life, and also the most beautiful. By accident, Albert Hofmann had just swallowed the most powerful, mind-altering substance ever discovered by a human being. You were never taught what happened next. To understand how the world's most controversial molecule was born by mistake, we have to go back further. Back to 1938. Back to a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland called Sandoz, where a young chemist was doing something incredibly boring: cataloging compounds derived from a toxic fungus. The fungus was called ergot, and ergot had a long, dark history. For centuries, it had been killing people. Quietly, invisibly. It grew on rye crops, and when people unknowingly ate bread made from infected grain, entire villages descended into madness. Convulsions, visions, burning sensations in their limbs, mass hysteria. Medieval doctors had a name for it: St. Anthony's fire. They thought it was a punishment from God. They had no idea they were being poisoned. But Hofmann wasn't afraid of ergot. He was fascinated by it. In 1938, working systematically through ergot's chemical compounds, he synthesized a new molecule, the 25th in a series. He called it lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD-25. He tested it on animals. Nothing remarkable happened. Sandoz filed it away. Hofmann moved on to other projects, and that was supposed to be the end of the story. But 5 years later, something called him back. This is the part that scientists still argue about. Hofmann himself described it as an inexplicable feeling, a kind of scientific intuition, a hunch that LSD-25 deserved a second look. So on April 16, 1943, he went back to synthesize it again. And this is where the accident happened. While working with the compound, a tiny trace, and we mean tiny, almost unmeasurably small, made contact with his skin, or perhaps his fingertip touched his mouth. We don't know exactly how. Hofmann didn't know either. But within 40 minutes, he had to stop working. He felt dizzy, restless, strange. He went home and lay down. And then the room exploded into light. He wrote in his lab notebook that he experienced an uninterrupted stream of fantastic pictures, extraordinary shapes, intense kaleidoscopic colors, vivid imagery, shifting and dissolving like something alive. It lasted about 2 hours, and then it was over, and he was fine. Most scientists would have stopped there. Most scientists would have filed a very alarmed safety report and kept their distance. Albert Hofmann did the opposite. 3 days later, April 19, 1943, he deliberately ingested what he calculated to be a threshold dose of LSD-25. He took 250 micrograms. He had no idea that LSD was psychoactive at 1/10 that amount. He had just taken 10 times the effective dose. 40 minutes later, he told his lab assistant he needed to go home. He asked to ride bicycles. There were wartime restrictions on cars. What happened on that bicycle ride would change the world. The world around him melted and reformed with every pedal. Familiar streets became alien geometries. His lab assistant, riding alongside him, appeared to transform. He felt he was moving through thick air. He was certain he was going insane or dying. The neighbor who brought him milk appeared to him as a malevolent witch. His body felt like it belonged to someone else. But here's what they never told you in the history books. A doctor was called. He examined Hofmann carefully. His vital signs were nearly normal. His pupils were dilated. His mind was in another universe. But his body was perfectly safe. LSD was not killing him. It was showing him something. By midnight, the terror had dissolved into something Hofmann described as blissful, grateful, new. He woke the next morning, feeling extraordinary, refreshed, clear, alive in a way he had never felt before. He wrote that the world appeared as if freshly created. April 19th, 1943, is now known among chemists and countercultural historians as Bicycle Day. And the reversal, the cruel, beautiful irony, is this. Sandoz, the company that almost discarded LSD as worthless in 1938, would go on to manufacture and legally distribute it to researchers and psychiatrists worldwide for the next 20 years. Because after Hofmann's accident, Sandoz recognized something remarkable. In tiny, controlled doses, LSD appeared to be one of the most extraordinary tools ever discovered for studying the human mind. By 1947, they were marketing it as a psychiatric drug called Delicid. Psychiatrists used it to treat alcoholism. Researchers used it to understand schizophrenia. The CIA used it, far more darkly, in covert experiments that would later become one of the most disturbing chapters in American intelligence history. But here's the hidden layer, the part that changes everything. Albert Hofmann spent the rest of his long life, he lived to be 102 years old, arguing that LSD was a gift, not a threat. That the hysteria, the criminalization, the moral panic of the 1960s had buried something valuable under politics and fear. That humanity had been handed a key to understanding consciousness itself and had, in a panic, thrown it away. He wasn't alone in believing this. Some of the most rigorous neuroscience of the 21st century has returned to LSD, using it to map the brain's default mode network, to study the origins of human consciousness, to treat end-of-life anxiety in terminal cancer patients. We still don't fully understand what LSD does. We don't fully understand why a molecule so small, smaller than a grain of sand, can dissolve the boundaries of the self, collapse the sense of time, and produce experiences that people describe as the most meaningful of their lives. But we know this. It happened by accident. One molecule, one Friday afternoon, one chemist who didn't wash his hands carefully enough. And the world has never seen consciousness quite the same way again. The next time someone tells you that all the great discoveries were planned, remember a bicycle, a Swiss chemist, and a spring afternoon in Basel when something went terribly, beautifully wrong. If this made you see history differently, subscribe to History by Accident, because every week we find another accident that changed your world. And drop in the comments, do you think what Albert Hofmann felt that night was a warning or an invitation? Stay, because the next one will shock you even more.